Hi beautiful people, welcome back. Hope everybody is doing well. I just want to come straight out and say thank you to so many people and all of you guys that have reached out to find out how my baby girl is doing. You know, whether your child is 20 years old or 2 years old, they are still your baby. You know, when they're sick, you're there, you just want to pamper them, faff over them, do whatever you need to do. And she's really been having a hard time because, like I said, on Friday, she actually had 4 of her wisdom teeth taken out, and it has not been good for her. Absolutely, it's been a struggle since Friday. She didn't have anything to eat on Friday. I got her some soup on Saturday and she just couldn't, finish it. She had no appetite, but I did keep her hydrated and she's just been drinking liquid. She was actually wishing for a smoothie from McDonald's. So 10:30 last night, I wanted her to get out the house, get up, get moving. So we went to McDonald's, we got her a smoothie, and she was throwing up continuously until early hours of this morning. I felt so sorry for her because really there was nothing for her to bring up, but my heart just breaks. And as I said, whether they're 20 or if they're 2 years old, they're still your baby. You want to faff over them, you want to pamper them, you want to just take all the pain away, but there's nothing you can do. And it's just been so hard to watch her go through all this pain. Nevertheless, my other babies went back to school today, so let's just say things are back to normal. So once again, thank you so much everybody for reaching out. I truly appreciate it. Please do not take what I say as fact. Feel free to do your own research and come to your own conclusion. So like clockwork, as Katie says, and as I would say, right on cue, after the Chrisley Confessions podcast, people started making videos. Then Katie Joy started her bullshit. Let's just put it that way. And like Todd Chrisley says,
and the truth hurts her. The truth doesn't hurt us. The truth vindicates us. The truth destroys her.
And I firmly believe that. I really think that the truth hurts Katie Joy. Because first of all, Katie Joy came out swinging once again, giving everybody a public service announcement, reminding everybody, which I think is not her place. It's truly not her place. Remember when her lawsuit was going on with Tati? She was going off the rails, when people were discussing her lawsuit. So now it's okay for her to rub it in people's face about the charges that the Chrisleys are facing, about how many years they could potentially face, and the exact date the trial is happening. I still can't believe this person is 43 years old. It truly blows my mind. So Katie Joy, her first post was, just make it show 4 million. And this was a public service announcement where at the end of this post, she actually goes on and she lets everybody know not to forget that their trial is on May 16, 2020. And she goes on and she says, in March of 2022, superseding indictment against Julie and Todd Chrisley, the government outlines alleged email sent by Todd related to the fraud. In one message, they allege he wrote, giving me an excuse as to why you cannot figure this out does not move it off your plate. This is not what we discussed. Passing it back and forth is not getting the results requested. If you do not know to do this, then find a crooked accountant to do it. Ask redacted who her guy uses for his crooked shit. In reality, the government alleges the Chrisleys did not have the money in their accounts that they represented to banks. They are charged with allegedly defrauding multiple banks of millions of dollars. Todd and Julie Chrisley have denied any involvement in the crimes and have pleaded not guilty. Todd Chrisley publicly blamed his former business partner for the fraud in 2019 on Instagram. Their trial is May 16th, 2022. Then she puts this picture up of Jim Jones and says, just because someone has a platform and followers doesn't make them good people. Never forget the victims of Jonestown. I would equate this to her, but it's just my opinion. It's another part of the Chrisleys' deposition. She says, in a deposition, Todd Chrisley reveals the truth about his podcast. According to the podcast bio, it says, Todd and Julie Chrisley from the hit USA reality show Chrisley Knows Best, Ask All and Tell All, join us every Wednesday as the beloved duo listen to your voicemails and offer advice, suggestions and opinions on all things faith, family, food, and well, just about everything else. Wait, is there more? But in reality, he says this: the podcast was set up so as kind of like an outlet for the family to discuss things that were written in the press that may not be true or what have you. It was kind of like an outlet for us to address those kind of things. According to the deposition, they are being paid via a contract through Podcast One. Todd also admitted in the deposition to not being aware of the money they made. So is the podcast to offer advice, or is it an outlet to address what is said in the press? The deposition was filed in a defamation case where Todd is being sued for allegedly defaming a former employee of the Georgia Department of Revenue. First and foremost, who has all this time on their hands to be like so cattish? You know, you've got, and I'm talking about Katie Joy, has so much on her plate. Put out content every day. Be available for her attorneys because she's facing multiple lawsuits. She has a kid. She has a family. Where's all the time to go and dig all this up? And this takes time, you people. It takes time. On the other hand, whose businesses of yours, Katie Joy? What they do, how they do it, why they do it. Not your business. It's their business why they do what they do and why they do it. Why are you getting your panties in a bunch because of how they run their podcast and how they're getting paid? Not your business. Moving on. Is attacking a child with a disability too far? The last few weeks have been overwhelming. Having so much coming at me and feeling like people literally believe the BS is unnerving. But hearing Todd and Julie Chrisley attack my son on the podcast was my final straw. My son is kept private for a reason. While I share a bit about our lives, I do my best to protect him. I made the choice to stop sharing his photo online over 4 years ago. We didn't give a ton of updates about him because it's not our story to tell and it's not relevant to my business. Listening to two celebrities questioning his illness and debate whether he's actually ill or disabled disturbed me to a level I never felt. Children with disabilities face discrimination and bullying at increased levels of their neurotypical peers. Children with disabilities also face higher rates of abuse by parents and caregivers than other children. My husband and I have done everything in our power to ensure our son thrives and survives while also finding a way to support his needs by working from home. Julie said she'd never leave the side of a child if they were sick, as she, being me, claimed. Julie and Todd have no business giving parenting advice to anyone when their whole financial lives were allegedly built on fraud according to the government. I will not stand for anyone attacking my child, period. He's been through hell and back. Despite the ignorance that exists in the world, he thrives in spite of all kinds of comments like the Chrisleys. The only people making my child's life hard are those who seek to use him as a weapon to hurt me. He's not a weapon, period. His disability and medical diagnosis is not a question, it's reality. One we face and handle daily with love and determination. This life isn't easy, but it's worth because he's beating the odds every damn day. Thank you to everyone that's reached out. Thank you to my critics who also spoke out against the Chrisleys. Thank you to my critics who also spoke out against what the Chrisleys said. I appreciate anyone knowing when wrong is wrong. Children with disabilities need love, not anyone questioning or attacking them, period. They are most vulnerable in society and must be protected. Oh no, it does not stop there. She goes on even more. When you have an invisible illness, it's hard to explain to someone who doesn't have a clue. It's a daily struggle being in pain or feeling sick on the inside when you look fine on the outside. When you question if a child's chronic illness is real or not, you are attacking the child, period. That child will grow up and see his name attached to these statements online. That would hurt the child. When you question if a parent is doing enough for a child that is chronically ill, you attack the child. Bullshit. When you accuse a parent of faking a child's illness, you are attacking the child. Again, bullshit. Munchausen's by proxy and malingering are rare disorders. The vast majority of people who speak or advocate for chronic illness and disability and acceptance are not lying. For 4 years, trolls have accused me of abusing my son, faking his illness, or questioning my son's diagnosis. This has resulted in close to a dozen calls to CPS, which all are closed as unfounded. We have mandated reporters in our home every week. Not once have we been reported to authorities by anyone that knows us because they know the truth. So excuse me if I'm upset about what was said on a very public podcast that is delivered by someone that has a show with at NBC and at USA Network. The last thing I need are more unfounded reports to CPS or police showing up my home because of lies. I do reports on others. People can talk about me all day long, but leave my son out of the conversation, period. He's not public. Come for me, leave my son alone. Also, responding to this doesn't mean I want sympathy. I don't. I'm standing up for my child and my family. No one needs to feel sorry for us. We are doing just fine. Me, different day. You guys, from what I've read from those screenshots, this woman has an issue. How private have you kept your son, Katie Joy? Because just recently, okay, maybe, let me start with this. If anybody Googles Katie Joy Paulson, you will find pictures, photos of her son. So in regard to people using her son's photo, she does the same thing to the Duggars, to the Bates, to anybody else. It just doesn't feel right, does it, KJ? Oh, no, Katie Joy, you do give updates. Let's not get that twisted. And you have divulged such a lot of information in regard to your son. When you sat on your Instagram lives, you showed people the medication he takes. You named the medication. And to find out the medication was expired, and that was the last one left. You were the one that sat on your Instagram live and cried about how an insurance company refused to pay for your son's medication. When also you were the one that sat on your Instagram live and bragged about how you can afford to buy 2 Bentleys, but you're crying about how an insurance company does want to pay for your son's medication. And to top that off, you find the time to go and pamper yourself, to go have your hair done, to go have Botox done. I'm just stating facts on how you prioritize yourself ahead of your child. And that's just my opinion. That's the way I see it. And how about the time when, I think it was Thanksgiving time, and you were laughing about this? You found this quite amusing. On the pumpkins that your son and your husband carved, and he got the dad with the kids on the one end, and then he has the mother on the other end, and he said that the mother's going through some things. Does that not resonate with you, Katie Joy? Is that your son is watching you unfold before his eyes, become unhinged before his eyes. Kids are smart, and your son, the way I see it, what I've seen and heard of him, he is brilliant. You don't have to go off and explain how kids with disabilities are harassed and bullied. People like me, and I can only speak for myself, I am still questioning, how do you do it? Sit there on your socials throughout the day, 3 videos a day, and be there for your child. How do you do it? You have the audacity, in my opinion, to say that you and your husband do everything to make sure your son is taken care of, to make sure his needs are taken care of. How the fuck did you allow your son to be locked or closed or whatever you want to say in a room for 10 fucking hours while you sat on an Instagram or a YouTube live? Please make all that make sense. It just blows my mind on how you feel you can justify that. That, in my opinion, is fucking torture. Also, what has the Chrisley's financial situation have to do with your parenting? You are damn right. Your son has been through hell all of his life. So how the fuck could you have forgotten his survival day? That you needed to be reminded of his survival day and still had the fucking audacity to go off on another mother that lost her child. Maybe you should rethink everything. Maybe you should go back and watch all this footage that's out there that shows, in my opinion, all the fucked up things you've done to your own son. And not because you call your own son a crotch goblin. Remember you said that? Your crotch goblin is downstairs with his dad. Does not make it okay for you to call any other people's kids those names. Nobody was attacking your son, Katie Joy. And I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. Complete strangers seem to have more love, affection, care for your own kid than you do. And that's just my opinion and my observation. You made a video. You took the time out to make a video about how your son racked up your credit card bill of nearly $1,000 because he was buying games in the presence of you and your husband. And what did you turn around and do? You made it seem like he was being sly. That is fucked up. But even more fucked up, Katie Joy, when you sat with those two women on a panel and said that your son is capable of murder. Wow. And you know, guys, what baffles me the most, truly baffles me, is how hard she is going for Todd and Julie Chrisley. And she falsely states that they are attacking her son. But let's change direction and course here. Look what Lindsie Chrisley has done to her. And no offense, no disrespect to Lindsie Chrisley. Look how Lindsie Chrisley has mocked her and totally denied ever knowing her, being friends with her, communicating with her. How come she's not coming in defense of that? Because for years, she's bragged about how Lindsay's such a good friend. Her and Lindsie actually do their makeup together over FaceTime. Lindsie is this most beautiful soul, and she goes on and on and on. Absolutely no backlash towards Lindsie. That is what's baffling me. So Lindsie Chrisley actually made another statement the weekend of Easter, and she says, "Good evening. I hope everyone is having a blessed weekend with your families and loved ones. My intentions were to disconnect from my phone and social media. My phone and direct messages have blown up about posts regarding my parents' upcoming federal trial. I'm going to reiterate, I have never been contacted by the federal government or any federal agent asking me to be witness for the government or informing me that I am witness in this case. I am highly alarmed that my image is being used. Attaching it to court documents referencing me, it is my understanding that names on the list that have been posted on a YouTube channel are individuals that are not to be contacted regarding the case, not no contact. A friend, in quotations, would not have me blocked from seeing things that they are reporting on me, put me in a compromising position, or allude without speaking to me, that I am in danger or harm's way. I am in no way a source of information for her or any other outlet for that matter. At this point, I am alarmed, concerned for my safety, mental well-being, and will be discussing with my attorney any further steps we can and will be taking next week. Anyone reporting on this, please be aware my attorneys are watching. I will no longer tolerate attacks to my mental and emotional health. Easter is the most celebrated season of Christianity, the resurrection of Jesus Christ. I plan to completely disconnect tomorrow and love on my son. Please, at the very least, give me and my family a day of rest." In regard to that post, Katie Joy was the one to put out this list of potential witnesses and insists that Lindsie Chrisley, and she's been stating this for a long time, that Lindsie Chrisley is a witness in her dad's case, which clearly Lindsie is saying she is not. Moving forward, Lindsie did a podcast last week sometime, and on the Instagram of this podcast, this is what Lindsie posted. She says, under what circumstances are you willing to wear and use an adult diaper? Let us know in the comments if you don't know what Lindsay's talking about. A while ago, when KJ got up from her chair and she turned around and somebody snapped a picture of her, and this is the picture that people are talking about, and it seems as though Katie Joy is wearing a diaper. You know what? I'm not judging. If that's what works for you, to each their own. Good for you. You got to do what you got to do to make that coin. Katie Joy has gone ballistic over people telling her or mocking her about wearing a diaper. When Lindsie made this post, not a damn word has come out of KJ's mouth. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. She hasn't even come out against Lindsie. And let's not forget, remember what went down with Amy King? When all that shit went down with Amy King, Katie Joy went ballistic. Katie Joy was throwing Amy King and her mother under the bus. She was absolutely disgusting what she did to them. And one day, miraculously, she just came across Amy King's taxes. So I'm wondering if she's digging to find dirt on Lindsie, or was she doing something for Lindsie that could get her further into another legal bind? Not saying it's happened. I'm just questioning. I'm just putting my thoughts and theories out there. Just my opinion, okay? Lindsie Chrisley went on her podcast with her co-host and she spoke about Without a Crystal Ball. And I will leave that at the end of the video. But it truly blows my mind. Why is Katie Joy not attacking or coming after or defending her own name against Lindsie Chrisley? It's just wild. But she insists on keeping on coming after Todd and Julie Chrisley. And then last but not least, Katie Joy decided to pull a mess report on a certain Instagram account Without a Crystal Balls. So Katie Joy put this up on her Instagram, which is now being deleted and removed off of Katie Joy's Instagram. It says, Without a Crystal Balls, trigger warning. I'm going to share pictures of Vaughn. You don't want to see? Totally understand, scroll past, I get it. No one, not one person has ever attacked your child, Katie Joy. You desperately want to be a mummy blogger. You infiltrated mummy groups, grifted money, and called other kids ugly. You attack children by accusing Jessa and Ben of punching Ivy in the face. You've made disgusting comments about the Duggar kids eating pickles and bananas. You've called Michelle Duggar's uterus shriveled up and dead, and in the very next breath you call the Duggars disease-ridden crotch fruits. You've attacked countless minors, calling Sophie Long a brat. And through all your atrocious behavior online, not one person has ever said anything negative about your innocent child. What we do is call out your massive inconsistencies in his health. I don't doubt he's a sickly child, but I don't think he's nearly as disabled as you desperately want him to be, because it makes you special. You said Vaughn was nonverbal and wheelchair bound. Is it weird he came on a live and you said, I hate this walking and talking, asking for a friend? We are not attacking Vaughn. We are questioning you and your husband's parenting. Your kid has not attended school in 2 years, has not been out of the house except to doctor's appointments in 2 years. You said your son has a low IQ and is capable of committing murder. Then you chastise us for Vaughn potentially finding this content in the future. Well, duh, sis. It's because you put it out there for public consumption. We know all this shit about Vaughn because you use him as a shield every time you get your clam in hot water. Shame on you. Do better. I agree 100% with Julie Chrisley. If my diseased crotch fruit were as sick as Vaughn, I'd never leave his side. For fuck's sake, Take some accountability. This is your fault. She says, please report this page for harassment and bullying. Please, this post needs to come down. I am only sharing so you can report. When you are done, I'm removing. My son has attended school. Facts. My son has a wheelchair for distances. Fact. My son is verbal and does walk. He spoke late. I didn't call Sophie Long a brat. Her dad is presently in jail in Mexico for kidnapping. He lied about everything. Guess who thanked me for helping her? Her mom. Trust me, girl. No one is trying to be special at all. He walked late. He spoke late. If you don't get it, then stop. Update. They got the photos from my Facebook page. I used to be a blogger that advocated for special needs children, and I shared our story. I stopped in late 2017, early 2018. I've now deleted all photos from that period of my Facebook page, I believe. Let's be clear about one thing. Everything Miss Without a Crystal Balls posted on her post is true, because there is video evidence of Katie Joy doing all that. 100%. So why lie? Why do you want the truth removed? As Todd Chrisley said, the truth hurts you, Katie Joy, but the truth will vindicate them. Why is it okay? Because her feelings on being hurt, she has been called out for her bullshit. Does another person have to suffer? Why is it okay for Katie Joy to go against terms of service, against the rules, and get people to mass report somebody that's speaking the truth, that's speaking facts? She said her son has attended school. So clearly her son is no longer attending school. And if I can remember correctly, a few weeks ago, she was on an Instagram Live and somebody mentioned that their autistic son does so much better being at home. And Katie Joy's reply and response to that, and don't quote me, was that's why they took Vaughn out of school too. When she says that she did not call Sophie Long a brat, let's set the record straight. She was on an Instagram Live talking about Sophie Long. Somebody in the comments made a comment about Sophie Long being a brat. True. But in turn, what did Katie Joy do? She went on another YouTuber's channel, Critical K, and she doubled down and did on that live call Sophie Long a brat. And she actually justified and explained why she called Sophie Long a brat. That's the facts, Katie Joy. And in regard to Katie Joy saying that Sophie Long's mom thanked her for helping. So when you do sit on your YouTube Live and discuss this whole thing and talk about what a fantastic mom Sophie Long's mother is and how you support her and want to be all flashy with your money and just on the spur of the moment, just go on and donate $1,000 to Kelly's lawyer or whatever she donated to. So of course Kelly's gonna thank you, because you just out of nowhere gave it $1,000 for nothing. And so what if they got those photos off your Facebook? Like, you go on the Duggars, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you get it, you do the same thing. So I would suggest what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Too late to cry wolf now, Katie Joy. What's done is done. There's nobody else to blame but yourself. Because in my opinion, it's greed that does all this for you and to you. So you guys, as I said, the best thing about this is that Without a Crystal Balls' post is back up on her Instagram. She has gone more followers on her Instagram. And can you see, good always overrides evil. But I am dying to know what you guys think about this whole Lindsie situation, where she is making a mockery of Katie Joy wearing diapers. What do you guys think? Why is she not retaliating to Lindsie? It's just, as I said, it's got me baffled. Cannot wait for what you guys think and what your theories are. So you guys, that's it from me. Thank you so much for joining me. I truly appreciate you guys, each and every one of you, from my members to anybody that's just joining me for the first time. I truly appreciate that view, that support, that membership, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much to everybody. You guys have a fantastic rest of your week. Please be safe out there. Be kind to one another, and don't forget, make good memories. Bye, guys.
Your next question is, are you still friends with Katie Joy despite the lawsuit? So, couple things on this. I have already said this, and I will repeat this. A friend would not have me blocked from seeing things that they have been and are reporting on me, put me in a compromising position, or allude to anything without speaking to me. And by allude that I'm in danger or in harm's way. I am not a source of information. There is no contact. This reporting has truly caused me to be alarmed and afraid. I think that people very much underestimate when they're doing these things. They don't look that there is power in numbers, and looking at my family as a whole and just like a collective following. There's a lot of people that follow and support. And when you are putting out information about me being a potential government witness for a case that is ongoing and is awaiting trial next month, to me, that's dangerous, because you're putting out information that is not even information that I know to be true or false. Like, I've never one time been contacted by the federal government or any federal agent asking me to be a witness for the government or informing me that I was a witness in this case. My image is being used on social media at this point, attaching it to court documents, referencing me. And there was a whole witness list that was posted, and my name was on that list. And this was posted like on Instagram, possibly a YouTube channel. I'm not sure. It was my understanding that this list was not a no contact, because there is not a no contact order. It's my understanding that there is to be no contact regarding this federal case, which there has not been. So I'm just very confused by all of this. If this person is trying to protect me, maybe do that and stop talking, because what you're doing is putting out information that could potentially harm me. Yeah. No, it's just like, don't report on stuff that you don't know are fact. And if you're calling yourself a friend, maybe don't report on that person, period.
And I'm like, where the fuck's the FBI? Because, like, the legitimate FBI. I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about, like, the legitimate FBI. I'm like, where the fuck are they? Because are they not listening to, like, what's going on? And why has there not been some type of gag order, some type of restraining order, whatever, for the people who are discussing this case, that are putting out information that is hearsay, potentially made up information, information that they're reading and absorbing this information and then commentating on this information. You shouldn't be commentating on information if you are not law enforcement, federal agent, FBI, or an attorney. Like, there's no way that you can read documents in a way that would be legitimate to know exactly what's going on. And so for me now, I'm like, okay, this is just scary. Like, why is this going on? I have no fucking idea. If anybody knows, please enlighten me, because I would love to know.
Don't you just love learning new shit about yourself every day?
I learn new shit about myself every single day. And it's like shit that I'm like, oh, wow, like, that's interesting. That's an interesting flex, because I had no fucking idea about that.
That's a shame. That's not friend behavior. I hope that situation
works itself out and clears it from your life, because it's not fun.
Me too. I'm like, this is like clouding my life and I just need it to go away, frankly. So,
right.
Anyway.
I mean, if you're getting interviewed by the FBI, you can't be the FBI at the same time. So we need to go back to that.
Yeah. Like, I prefer to be the FBI investigating things that I fucking care about. And this is not something that I care about.
No.
Moving on.